The coronavirus disease 2019, known as COVID-19, continues to spread across the globe, infecting hundreds of thousands and leading to more than 8,000 deaths thus far. Countries have responded to the pandemic by postponing or canceling large-scale entertainment events such as art fairs, literary festivals, concerts, and sporting events. Since mid-March, Bahrain has announced that their annual F1 Grand Prix event will take place behind closed doors. The Bundesliga may finish the season without spectators. The Indian Wells Masters tennis tournament was cancelled, with others expected to follow. While Italy, the hardest hit European country with more than 7,000 cases, has banned spectators from attending sporting events, including Serie A football games. As for mixed martial arts, Euro-African promotion Aries FC postponed an upcoming event in Belgium because of coronavirus concerns. One championship followed suit shortly thereafter and postponed its March 20 show in Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam, after hosting its previous events in Singapore behind closed doors. Other promotions such as KSW and Pancrase have postponed upcoming events, while Combate Americas announced a, quote, proactive plan, end quote, that included postponing upcoming shows and scheduling new ones on a closed TV set studio. Quote, Combate America's mission is to bring together people throughout the US, Mexico, South America, and Spain, and that requires frequent travel to an array of locations, both foreign and domestic, end quote, Combate America's CEO Campbell McLaren stated. Quote, our live studio version of Combate Americas will continue to deliver, end quote. Even the UFC began bracing itself for potential coronavirus complications in March. During a pre-fight media scrum, UFC President Dana White admitted that COVID-19 was a, quote, serious problem and that the UFC was already taking steps to mitigate its effect. Quote, we all should have plans, White said in response to a question about the measures the UFC is taking in the face of the issue. Quote, this is a serious problem. We're looking at how this will affect our business this year and how we battle this thing moving forward. We're already working on this. We've been working on this since a month and a half ago, end quote. The UFC was defiant about postponing or canceling any of their upcoming shows. They held UFC Brasilia in an empty arena. They attempted to move UFC London stateside in response to England's newly implemented restrictions, and they tried to move 2 fight nights, Ngannou vs. Rosenstruik and Overeem vs. Harris, to the UFC Apex. Ultimately, the UFC was forced to abandon all 3 cards. For SB Nation MMA, I'm Shaquille Majuri, and let's extrapolate the potential problems the UFC might face as the coronavirus continues to spread in North America and why the promotion should consider mitigating the spread of the infectious disease. COVID-19 is an infectious disease caused by severe acute respiratory syndrome, coronavirus 2, which is a virus related to SARS. The infection spreads via respiratory droplets from airways like coughing or sneezing, while the onset of symptoms such as fever, shortness of breath, and headache is between 2 and 14 days. However, given that the incubation period ranges from 1 to 14 days, averaging 5 to 6, it is possible to spread the virus before being aware that you have been infected yourself. Due to the infectious nature of the disease, global health organizations, including the World Health Organization, have published preventative measures to reduce the chances of spreading the infection in locations with outbreaks. These preventative measures include staying home, avoiding travel, staying away from large-scale public gatherings, and practicing good respiratory hygiene such as washing hands with soap and water, coughing into a bent elbow, and avoiding touching your face unnecessarily. There remains no specific treatment for COVID-19, though research is currently underway. A vaccination is unlikely to be available for another 18 months, which means that other preventative measures will be required to contain the spread. This leads us back to large-scale public events such as concerts, movie theaters, festivals, and sports events, and the steps many have taken as a precaution to protect spectators and attendees from contracting the disease. While many sports organizations have canceled or postponed their upcoming events, others in less troubled regions are recommended to increase staff requirements for cleaning and disinfecting venues. Others are developing policies, protocols, and guidelines for how to recognize symptoms or identify potential new cases. These measures will help protect fans in attendance and limit the potential spread of the disease. UFC President Dana White has no intention of outright canceling the UFC 249 pay-per-view headlined by Khabib Nurmagomedov versus Tony Ferguson. In fact, he believes the event will likely be held outside of the US as opposed to Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York. This after Governor Andrew M. Cuomo declared a state of emergency. The UFC will continue to face obstacles as it tries to move forward with its event calendar, and yet, despite the continued spread of the COVID-19 pandemic, White has no intention of postponing or canceling UFC 249 or the events subsequent to it. Quote, "I don't give a shit about the coronavirus," end quote, White told TSN sports reporter Aaron Bronstetter following UFC 248. Quote, "As far as I'm concerned, we'll continue to run our business." Do you think the UFC should continue on with UFC 249 and future events? Let us know in the comments section what you think, and if you like this video, please hit like, subscribe, and tap that notification bell for more MMA goodness just like this. Stay safe, and we'll see you next time.